Beautiful, charming, welcoming, sunny, vibrant, easy, sturdy, low maintenance. I honestly aspire to be like the marigold of humans. Yeah, I am mad about marigolds. Hey folks, this is Casey and I am one mellow marigold and I'm finally doing a marigold video. In this video, we're going to talk about how to grow marigolds from flower and just honestly gush about them a whole lot, because they're wonderful and perfect and we should talk about it more. And of all the amazing things about marigolds that we're going to talk about, the one that I love the most is literally almost everybody can do it. Almost everybody can grow it. Got a south-facing window in your apartment? Grow marigolds. Got a patio? Grow marigolds. Got a lawn or garden? Plant marigolds everywhere. Don't got a south-facing window? Sun lamp. You can do it. Marigolds are worth it. So why do I love marigolds so much? Okay, reason number one, orange. Orange is my favorite color. I love the color orange. It's warm, it's cheerful, it's inviting. And when I mean orange, I mean like all the oranges. Like marigolds can be all the oranges, all the yellows, all the rusts, all the golds. Some marigolds are the same color all the way through their petals. Other marigolds have cute little ribbons of color at the tip, but then the petal is like a whole different color. And then sometimes the inside's a whole different color. It's all the warm colors and I love it. And they are low maintenance. I mean, low maintenance. You just plant them in a bed in the sun and just let them vibe, let them chill. You could do a little maintenance if you want to, you could do a little deadheading every now and again. You could give them a little food if you want to. If they honestly don't need it, you can just leave them alone. Let them hang out. On that note, let's first talk about the absolute easiest, most low maintenance way to plant marigolds from flower. Let's pop over to the corn patch, which is currently completely overrun by purple nettle, but we're going to take care of that. Came out to this spot to give you a really good example of the absolute lowest maintenance way to grow marigolds from seed. So this bunchy stalk, lots of couple of branches, all of this was a marigold last year. I plant marigolds at the four corners of the corn bed. And when everything died back in the winter, I just left it. Let's take a look at this little guy. I might break it, and that's okay. This is a marigold flower that died back in the fall. And inside is its little seed pod. Whoop! It actually kind of looks like most of the seeds may have fallen out already. We can squish it. Oh no, there's still some in there. Squish it with your hands and you see the seeds. And as you may have noticed, just the act of squishing them with my hand caused a whole bunch of them to fall into the ground. And that's as easy as it is to regrow marigold seeds. Let your plant die back. Let nature do what nature does. Let those seeds just kind of fall into the earth. And if the conditions are right, if they're not overcrowded, if they get some sunlight, if they connect with the soil, they're going to grow back for you. Just while we're here, I just spotted this handsome guy. Good morning, my guy. So the absolute easiest way to regrow marigolds from a marigold is to go to your local nursery, buy a marigold plant, pop it in the ground, or a pot, or a flower bed, or whatever. Let it grow, let it die, and let it bring you back flowers the very next year. Easy, easy, easy. Another bullet point on the old marigold resume is they bloom forever. Forever. These marigolds obviously were grown inside a greenhouse, so they're already blooming now in May. I'm going to plant them in the ground, and they're going to continue to bloom all summer long, all through the fall, until the frost finally kills them back late fall, early winter. Some flowers last 2 weeks, like tulips. Okay, yeah, they're super pretty and all, but they last 2 weeks and then they die back. Marigolds, I like to see flowers all throughout the summer. Marigolds do the job. And they are attractive to all the right insects. Yes, all the beneficial insects are swiping right on marigolds. They attract bees. They attract ladybugs. They attract lacewings. They attract praying mantis. They attract parasitic wasps, which sounds like a bad thing, but that's really actually a good thing. So if you want to be a little bit more medium maintenance with your marigolds, if you want to intentionally plant the seeds rather than just letting them try to self-seed, that'll give you a little bit of a leg up. You know, if you just put the seeds in the ground, you might have to deal with pests, critters, somebody who might come by and snack on that seed, or even the little emerging seedling. In order to do that, you're going to have to procure yourself some seed. That means you're just going to go to the store and pick out any packet of seeds that looks beautiful to you. If you're feeling fancy, you can order specific marigold seeds from a grower. But I'll tell you, once you have grown marigolds one time, you will never have to buy seeds again. I save all of my marigold seeds all the time. These 2 jars are just from last year alone. They make tons of seeds, and these seeds stay viable forever. When you collect them, you're just going to want to make sure that they dry out a little bit so they're not damp from being outside, and then store them in a cool, dark place in a jar. That's it. And just FYI, everyone who purchases something from my Etsy shop automatically gets a free little packet of marigold seeds from the farm. I'm just saying. First, let's try the direct sow method. Find yourself your flower bed spot, have a seat. And clear yourself a spot. Oh, hi, Mr. Worm. I didn't mean to wake you. Marigold seeds are pointy. They remind me of porcupine quills, actually. And so you can orient the seed point down, feather down, or sideways, and they'll germinate every way. I'm going to put a link up above of a gardener here on YouTube who did a germination experiment with marigold seeds and tried them all 3 ways. Watch her videos to get the results. I do sort of a sideways stab. So you can come out and just boop, sideways stab them in. Boop, in. Boop, in. They don't have to be very deep. In fact, you can also just scatter them in the soil like that, and then replace what's on top. And there you go. You have direct sown marigold seeds. Oh, and I want to welcome Cindy at CMS Smith to the Marigold member fold. Welcome. Super glad you're here. You might be wondering where your Marigold member dollar goes. And it goes into this. It goes into the farm. It goes into things that maybe I think are going to make videos better. Like the first round of Marigold dollars went into buying me a new little microphone to use when it's really windy and trafficy and stuff, so it sounds better. This next round of Marigold dollars is going to go into getting a brand new garden hose, because I need like a super big garden hose, like a 150 footer. And the one I have right now is still from old Cheryl, and it has been repaired way too many times at this point. There's just like holes along the whole way, and I end up spraying myself more than I end up spraying plants. So that's where this next round of Marigold dollars is going to go, and that's it. That's what I do with the money. It just goes back into hopefully making a lot better videos and growing more cool stuff to show to you. Instead of direct sowing into the ground, you can fill some seed starting cups with dirt and direct sow them right into there. That way they grow in the cup long enough to make sure that they're really strong, healthy, and viable, and then you transplant them where you want them to be. I have also filled a large flat with just tons of marigold seeds when I have wanted to plant a whole bunch at once. And this year, I planted my first round of marigolds in a winter jug. So let's take a peek and see what these look like. Now, I feel comfortable doing this at this moment because we are past our last frost state for Zone 5B. Of course, I had to use the strongest tape possible. Look at these gorgeous little starts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. About 20 little starts are in this winter sown jug. And all I did was dump some potting mix in there. Obviously, I have lots of drainage holes on the bottom. Dump some potting mix in, spread my seed, put a little more seed on top, zipped it up, stuck it outside. They did this all on their own. Marigold roots are really hardy, so separating these is not going to cause a problem. They're going to transplant just fine. Because this is a small enclosed space, though, I am going to start transplanting them out into the yard in the next week or so. And we're not even done gushing yet about all the cool things that marigolds are. Look at little Hilda back there. Look at her back there just rolling around. She probably found something dead. She's rolling around. She's going to get real stinky. I'm going to have to bathe her later. She's on a leash. Don't worry. She's not that close to the road. Okay, but really, we are still not done gushing about marigolds. Honestly, they're basically ride or die. Like, they are drought and disease resistant. Nothing really kills marigold. You're never going to be like, oh, it hasn't rained in a week. I better rush out and take care of my marigolds. They're fine. They're absolutely fine. In addition, they smell bad. Yeah, I know. That probably doesn't sound like something you really want from a flower. But when I tell you that they smell bad to deer and rabbits, you're going to rethink that. Because there's nothing worse than having deer and rabbits in your garden. Nothing. Assholes. While marigolds come in all different sizes, types, and varieties, there's really three main types. The one that's most commonly planted around gardens here in the US are the French marigolds. And French marigolds are the stinkiest. So for example, right over there, I'm carving out an extension to my herb garden. That is a bunny rave area. They love to congregate in this area of the yard because they can get in from all different directions. They're really close to the grapevines. They seem to really love the grapevines for some reason. So I'm going to be planting marigolds around that perimeter of the herb garden to help keep bunnies away from the peas and the grapes and the everything else I got going on over here. Now, with all the benefits of marigolds, there is a myth that a lot of us commonly believe. In fact, I did for years until I learned otherwise. A lot of us believe that marigolds actively repel bad pests in addition to attracting good ones. So it's commonly believed that they repel aphids, for example, or squash bugs, or even mosquitoes. However, it turns out that the scientific community doesn't necessarily agree that that's actually what's happening. They do agree that the root system of the marigold lets out a toxin that's going to deter nematodes in the soil, but they do not agree that marigolds themselves are actively effective at repelling pests. Regardless, we're still going to plant marigolds because they're gorgeous, they're beautiful, they're awesome, they're easy, and they're just a fantastic companion plant to have in almost any area of the garden. I have one last how-to method for my frugal and adventurous growers. You're of course going to need a healthy marigold plant. You need a pruning shears, a glass of fresh water, and a sunny window. Marigolds will propagate in water. Yeah. Let's say you went out to your nursery and you brought home this cute little set of 4 marigolds. You plant them in the ground. You give them a couple of weeks to settle into their new home, catch a few feelings with the soil, just to make sure that they're really healthy and stable. You're going to find yourself a branch that is about the length of your hand. You want to make sure it has multiple leaf sets and a nice bloom on top. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here with this marigold. But just remember, don't do this with a start. Do this with an established plant instead, okay? I don't want to hear anybody crying because they clipped their seedling and then it never grew back. Although it's a marigold, it's probably going to grow back anyway. For example's sake, I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to snip it just above the leaf node. Yeah, stinky. And then we're going to cut off all of its little side leaves. We're going to do this. Cut off all those little baby shoots. I know, it hurts, doesn't it? It does. It's okay. Don't worry about it. She's going to be fine. My shears could probably use another little sharpen. Here we go. We got one cutie little clean marigold. You're going to take your glass of water. You're going to put your marigold in it. That's the whole thing. Set it in your windowsill. The marigold is going to start developing roots out of the bottom of that branch. Now, you're going to want to sort of keep an eye on the glass, right? You're going to want to refresh the water every now and again. After time, the water might start to look a little murky, and we don't really want that. We don't want to introduce disease or fungus or anything like that. So you're going to keep your little marigold in the glass, put it in a sunny window, watch it every couple of days, maybe change out the water. And before you know it, you're going to start to see little tiny white root buds start coming out of the bottom. I recommend you wait until you have a nice, say, golf ball size grouping of roots that are growing out of the bottom. The healthier the root structure is that's growing out of the bottom, the easier it's going to be to transplant into the soil. But once you've got a nice chunk of root growing out of the bottom, boom, it's a new plant. Go ahead and stick it in the ground. You could theoretically go to the nursery, buy yourself one little pack of 4 marigolds, plant them in your yard, and propagate all of them and multiply them around your yard. Does it take time and attention? Yeah, it does. Is it cheap? Sure is. Who doesn't love a frugal way to garden? Marigolds are wonderful. I guess they kind of, okay. As I'm sticking it up my nose, the flower blossom is not stinky. That smells kind of nice. It's the leaves. That's stinky. It's on my hands. Stinky. No good. That's why the bunnies don't like it. No! And whatever the garden question ends up being, in my book, an easy answer is always more marigolds. Just add more marigolds. And I'm never wrong. You guys know this about me. Thank you for letting me be part of your garden, and thank you for hanging out with me in mine. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one, okay? Love you. Bye.